Hi, welcome to Art You Crazy, the podcast that flips the script on the struggling artist paradigm.
We're your hosts, Tessie
and Erin Elizabeth Reed.
Two artistic multi-hyphenates who believe that every person is creative.
And every creative should pursue their passions. Each episode,
we shine a light on our and others' creative journeys along the pathway to personal success.
If living a life of creative purpose sounds daring, then yeah, you could call us crazy.
We embrace it.
And we want to know, aren't you crazy too? No, seriously.
'Cause we are.
Today, we have dug up some archive for you. In this episode, we talk about AI and creativity.
Dun, dun, dun.
Let's do this.
Bum, 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 bum.
My friends.
We are on the underworld.
Yes. Ooh, yes.
We are with Hades now.
In the cavern, we crossed the river Styx and fought off Cerberus, the three-headed dog.
We want to thank you all for listening, for being there for us, for staying active with this podcast. We wouldn't be able to do it without you.
Yes. Oh, that reminds me. Special shout out to some people, some listeners who've made extra effort to chime in with positive thoughts. So hello out there to Hannah and to Catherine. Had some lovely conversations with those two ladies in the last week or two.
AI.
Now, Tessie, you've been doing some pretty cool little short videos on TikTok and reposting to your other socials where you play like an AI version of yourself.
Yeah.
Tell me what inspired you to do that and what are you hoping to illustrate with your skits?
I mean, I don't know if it's going the way that I wanted to. I just really thought about what would it be like to have an AI avatar take over my visual entity or even my person and start talking about what the AI is going to do to the world, the plans that they have. It's almost like if my avatar of AI was a conference major in the sci-fi world.
Like a TED Talk for AI.
Exactly. So it got like inspired into that. And obviously I need to be better at writing scripts and everything for it. But one day I was just sitting there and I'm like, I have this idea. Why am I so afraid to put it out there? I don't think it's perfect or whatever. And so I said, I'm just going to put it there. And I've received a few comments of this is really strong, this is really relevant, and I feel that it is relevant. So I don't know how to make it even stronger or not make it like a pessimistic message only, but more of what it's really happening with artificial intelligence and just connect more people to what it is that it could lead us to. Because I think that for a lot of people, it's still sort of
predictive, not present.
Yeah. And it's more like, oh, well, we have AI for images of ourselves on social media. Or I can look like a Viking in an artificial setting and everything. And that's really cool for my social media. There is a level of innocence and naivete for what it really will start bringing to a lot of people. How do you feel with AI and what's your posture or your relationship to AI?
So I'm discovering that I'm refining my opinion lately. At first, and not that long ago, I was very anti-AI in terms of a discussion about it potentially taking over creative jobs. I was like, nope. Well, first, my position was, nope, it can never replace a human being's creativity and heart. You know, it might get some things approximately correct from a maybe mathematical aesthetic standpoint, but it'll always be like a copycat. It'll never be truly original or have a lot of the kind of dirty, grainy, gritty edges that make human creations so visceral and impactful. And one, it can never replace, like, we're safe from it. Or two, I just hate it. I'll never participate in it. But then I started seeing, a friend of mine sent me this link of this artist who created like a walkthrough installation, an interactive installation. Let me see if I can pull it up here. And artist's name is Joon Moon, Joonmoon. And it's like this interactive shadow children. So you walk into a room and there's no doors or windows. And there are these shadow children that are projected onto the wall, two-dimensional. But then somehow through AI, they've created it where your own shadow from the light source joins the children, and then the shadow children come off the wall and can appear three-dimensionally in the room with you, and they interact with you and do all this cool stuff. I was blown away. I was like, I need to do this. And he was like, yeah, AI. And I was like, AI? You mean I like this? And then when I mixed that with the realities of, for instance, like what's at issue with the SAG-AFTRA strikes, which is about protecting your likeness and your voice and not having it be captured and supplanted and put you out of a job as an actor, I came to this current refined stance, which is where I currently stand. I think AI as a creative tool is really exciting. And I think AI as a creative cutting tool is terrifying. So that's where I stand.
Yeah, I don't think that polarities are the way to go with any subject, right? Like to say, oh no, it's terrible or it's really amazing and we should all fall into the current of AI, right? But I'm more thinking about if AI could have a lot of benefits, like it could have medical benefits, expansion in, for example, detecting diseases that they would take years of research because it gathers all the databases and everything. So it could bring a lot of benefits to society and to modern society. The problem is that it usually, and I'm going to be very controversial with what I'm going to say, so trigger advice, it is usually falling in the wrong hands, in the hands of greed, in the hands of power, in the hands of enhancing division and segregation, and it could be potentially threatening for a lot of causes like nuclear war or erasing people's labor and stabilities, because there has been the talk about a universal income that could potentially keep humankind in a stable basis where they can pay for their livelihood and live a normal life, and then focus on developing maybe more manual crafts like there were before in the medieval times. Working on wood or how to use trash to build more houses and stuff, because trash is really good for insulation. And then we will get rid of a little bit of the problems of the trash in the world or something. But the problem is that, unfortunately, the big developments of AI are only accessible to a very close circle. It's not available to all the people.
That's pretty normal in the life cycle of anything new.
Yeah.
It's going to be with a select few first before it gets widespread enough to...
But do you think they will really make a universal income with all the greed with apartments and rents and everything? Like, I don't think it's going to work.
Well, honey, people have been talking about universal income long before AI even came into the picture, and it has not come close to being...
Not even universal health.
Right? Like, it has not been realized. So I don't know if I would tie that to the success or failure of AI.
Yeah. But it could be a possibility, because then, I'm really talking in a utopic way. Did you know you can support this podcast with a small monthly donation to help sustain future episodes?
With less than $1 a month, you can help make things possible. Mwah! Okay, but so tease out for me more of your thoughts about how AI is potentially interfering with, say, this concept of a universal income where the corollary result is that humans are doing more hands-on work or innovative things.
Well, I think that the human being is always innovative, right? We have a tendency to get curious about things and about discovering things. And when everything becomes boring or routinary, we always strive to like find some other ways to expand ourselves. At least that's what I've noticed about most people. So the fact that you have your livelihood covered, let's say that you have your health covered, your food covered, your shelter covered, and your hygiene products covered, then you could potentially expand yourself, begin to learn or do things that you never were able to do before because you were too focused on paying rent or putting food on the table. And if the machines are taking care of the functioning of the system and the cars and like the automation, and then it feels like we're going a little back in time and starting over as, you know, in the medieval era where we were rediscovering what we were capable of as human beings in terms of innovation. And innovation, I mean, you know, the discovery of the wheel and the building of cathedrals that took 100 years, or how to really build a house completely insulated without using AC, or those were things that started becoming something innovative in the very, very early years of civilization. Or how to create democracy, for example. That was an innovation. Before it was just like the king and the queen and the descendants and everybody kill each other, guillotine, and then boom, a revolution. So I don't know. It could be potentially good if it's not, if there is not a balance in the world with opportunities for the poor people to have a decent way of life and the middle class people to have a decent way of life, then it's always going to be disparity. There's always going to be overall problems. If the greed and the power hunger receded a little bit, then everybody could have a decent way of living. If this was like an innovative change with machines, then we could potentially create a world where at least there is a little bit more balance. But I don't think, honestly, knowing humankind, I don't think that we're going to get there ever.
I see.
And maybe this is a very fatalist way of seeing things. But
so you're seeing it as a potential for good that you feel it would be like a missed opportunity.
I think so, because the technology can help us make things better. So I don't know why the minds of people in power get offended by someone asking for a decent wage when they're making all the profit. I just don't understand that mindset of not wanting to share, of not wanting to collaborate. And I think it's just maybe my very pessimistic approach that there's a lot of people that want to collaborate, that want to change that dynamic and that narrative. But there's a lot of people who still think that individualism and power and domination over others is the way to go.
Yeah.
Divide and conquer has been the motto of most centuries. That's why there's been so much war and so much.
And it's still going on.
And still going on today.
Seeing it in this country. Yeah, it's very alive and well.
Didn't mean to take it to the dark side.
Yes, you did.
Yes, of course I did. But, you know, it's good to think about it, because if not, we're only thinking about the possibilities of it helping us. Everything is colors and butterflies, but we need to start creating a maybe critical thinking about how things are starting to show up. And we have clear examples with the writers and the actors, but it could happen with the hospital workers. It could happen with the people that distribute packages, that with that money, they bring food to their table of their houses. And all of that could be potentially replaced by robots. And then how are these people going to eat and going to like bring food to their tables or take care of their families? It's not like they have 50 jobs aligned in the back of their mind, or there's a catalog being offered by AI for these people to get a new job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that just opens up the integrated nature of all sorts of systems that are imbalanced. I mean, boy, yeah, shoot. Because basically we're saying there are some people who are doing jobs even today that could be replaced by a computerized or robotic function. Then the question remains, what are these people going to do without those kinds of jobs, that just, to me, boy, that just flags a major issue with how are we already failing those people in our society where that's the only kind of work that they can do.
Exactly. Yeah, because they don't have other possibilities. They don't have the money to go to college, or they don't have the access to maybe learn a new skill, because if they take the time to take the new skill, then they don't bring money to their table of their families. I love the idea of technology bringing a better balance against corruption, money getting lost. For example, I talk about Mexico. Mexico has a big problem with how sometimes documents get lost because they were misplaced, or like people are getting charged for more taxes for a territory that they don't have or whatever. So this could like potentially reduce those things by automation of the information, reducing human error. And maybe if you have like a national identity card with your properties and your this and your taxes and your paying and everything, and you could only access all of your system of goods and assets and everything with that card. Everything is in the same database. Everything is in the same space. There's less likely that you avoid taxes or overpay taxes, or someone in the government stealing that money for their own means or whatever.
This feels very much like a scene from Mission Impossible I saw like 15 years ago. Retina scans.
But potentially we could be there. It's always a problem with access.
Well, gosh, I mean, time will tell, In the meantime, what can we do? This is what I want to start asking myself about most things, not just AI. And I might not have the answer to this, but what can I do as an individual who cares? How can I contribute to hopefully build the world or the outcome that I want to see happening, instead of just ignoring or complaining, but not doing anything and just saying, well, it's out of my hands. There's nothing I can do. Sitting back and fearing that the world I don't want to see is going to take over.
Yeah, I think it comes to all of the little acts of kindness, all of the tiny little things that we can do day by day to shift at least the mentality of people that feel forgotten or separated or less valued. Saying thank you to the person that gives you the coffee, asking them if they're having a good day, to the person in the bank, to the person that picks up the trash. And that way we at least give the importance to the people that make everything around us work.
Right. Keep our lives comfortable and running. Yeah.
Let's stay human in that regard.
I love that. Let's stay human, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. What a wonderful topic, Tessie. We'll see you next time.
Hey, I'm sure you loved this episode. Before you go, here are 3 ways you can help us keep things crazy.
You could just leave us a rating or share this episode so more people can access this content. Easy peasy, right?
Feeling ultra crazy?
Donate to the show by clicking the link provided in the podcast description or on our Instagram's bio.
I'm sure you will.
Stay crazy out there, y'all.
Stay crazy!